I know what you guys are thinking. What does a woman have to say about men's clothing? Well, I can tell you this. A man made Louis Vuitton, a man made Calvin Klein, and a man made Victoria's Secret. If a man can tell me what kind of undergarments I put on, I can have an opinion on what looks good on my fiance. All right, guys, you've been such an amazing crowd, but the fun's not over yet. We'll be back after the break. So before we even get into menswear brands, there are some criteria and guidelines both my fiance and I established which made it easier to make decisions when shopping for clothes. And honestly, the brand is not as important as the products we purchase. However, most clothing companies nowadays focus on keeping up with the high demand for clothes, causing a decrease in the production of items made from authentic materials. Buying clothes with high quality materials essentially means you'll be able to hold on to them for a longer time. But this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend a lot of money to get high quality. You just have to know what to look for. So I do realize some of these places that I'm about to mention are pretty pricey, and I do realize that my fiance and I are privileged to have some of these pieces in our home, and we're deeply grateful for that. But I did want to make this video to show that there are more places to shop at than Zara, and Men's Warehouse, and Lululemon, and Amazon. And also, this is the video I wanted last year when I wanted to help contribute to my fiance rebuilding his capsule wardrobe. Okay, so Spier and Mackay. I feel like you can't talk about quality men's clothing on a budget without talking about Spier and Mackay. When my fiance was learning how to elevate his wardrobe, he found a lot of really nice brands that had a heavy price tag. So we went on this long journey trying to find these silly side tab pants, and this was a couple weeks before we were going to go out of town to Hawaii. Going to Hawaii, he was like, okay, I'm going to really need to find good linen pants and also get some side tabs that are high-waisted. Like, I really need to find a good brand that has both of those things. So we were going all over Dallas trying to find side tab pants that weren't over $300. We found a brand called Spier and Mackay. They had a huge selection of side tab pants, and it was really well priced. I was confused why it was such a big deal to have these, and when we were in Hawaii, that's when he proposed. So he wanted to get some cute proposing pants. So if you want some cute proposing pants on somewhat of a budget that is good quality, Spier and Mackay is your go-to. It's hands down one of the most overlooked brands, I think, in the menswear world, and it's the brand we recommend to all of our guy friends. Since my fiance is smaller, it's really hard for us to find brands that have a 28-inch waist, so we have to go look at a lot of European brands. Correction, we look at European brands because we do need that size inclusivity that a lot of American brands don't have. I was just trying to iterate that Spier and Mackay has a size 28. Okay, love you and you look cute. Out of all of the menswear brands that he has shopped from, he has used Spier and Mackay clothing the most. I'll start out with a little story. When I was younger, my mom was a journalist for an international fashion magazine. So I got to go with her to work all the time, and I was surrounded by fragrances and people in the industry talking about how they sew and they design and how big retailers make the decisions on bringing these big brands into their storefront. And it was really cool for me growing up to basically observe that from afar. There was one day she had to go to this department store called Stanley Korshak. In Stanley Korshak, there's this men's section just for suits, and it's like straight out of a Kingsman movie. Like, even when you walk in there, there's an older gentleman all the time, maybe a woman, but there's somebody who walks up to you and they're like, hello, what would you like to drink? Drink? What are you talking about, madam? So that was my baseline for understanding what fancy clothes meant. If someone offers me a snack or a drink, I know I'm in a nice place, okay? Getting snacks for nice clothing is such a vibe. That's what I established in my small little girl brain, that's what fancy meant. You know, good customer service, people who are passionate about what they do, people who want the best for you, and good snacks. So no matter who you are, Like, I was like 8. I'm not going to be buying a suit. How this relates to suit supply. Suit supply. Anytime I go in, I know the drill. I ask for a sparkling water and a cookie. And I get my sparkling water and cookie because we're about to spend money and it's fun. And I want to feel like a princess, okay? But, okay, besides the snacks. I live in the Dallas area and there are 2 suit supplies that I always pass. I just kind of assumed that they were overpriced, especially with like oversaturated advertisements and like the very flashy posters. It seemed very gimmicky. But like I said earlier, when we were on our quest to find these side tab trousers, we finally gave in to the oversaturated advertisements and we went into suit supply. But even though we had a lovely experience, I'm still always on edge because I don't know if that brand is worth supporting. So I went home. I did a little research. Suit Supply aims to only work with suppliers that meet International Labor Organization standards, and it is a long-standing member of the Fair Wear Foundation, which promotes workers' rights. So this commitment to fair working conditions makes Suit Supply an excellent choice for people looking to support an ethical brand. They have over 150 physical stores worldwide, and there you can get an appointment based on fittings, alterations, advice, and the whole experience feels really premium. So we found Articles of Style on TikTok, and the founder makes a lot of videos on the fashion industry, and he educates people on fabric. He critiques and or roasts NBA and NFL players' outfit choices, and his page was huge for when Tyler was learning how to improve his style in this world of fashion. Articles of Styles takes a unique approach, emphasizing the importance of a well-curated wardrobe. Obviously, fashion companies are run by people, but this brand really makes that front of mind. Every single model on their page works on staff with the company, plus they have pop up on both of our For You pages on TikTok and Instagram, and it's cool. Everyone has a passion for style, and you can really feel that authenticity coming through. You can tell that in the way that they promote, hire their staff, and source all their materials is really thorough, and they care so much about bespoke clothing. It makes it hard for me not to absolutely love this brand. This brand is by far the most pricey of all the brands on this list, but it's by far the highest quality and most top tier brand I've ever encountered in my life. Buying any piece is a much more involved process, so before buying anything, it's highly encouraged to schedule a meeting with the founder of the company to go over your wardrobe. You guys will talk about color and what your clothes will be used for, and you can ask questions, and essentially they're creating these clothes from scratch, so they are tailored specifically to your life. The only downside is this company is paying people fair wages, which is obviously not a downside, but you know, I guess for you, that could be a downside if you don't want to spend a lot of money. But anyway, okay, they pay people fair wages and they are creating this custom. Like the entire process leading up to your clothes is slow. Tyler hopped on a call with the founder and it took him about a month and a half to follow up with Tyler to tell him what would look best on him based off his complexion and where we live, weather-wise. And wouldn't that be crazy if he just had like a GPS coordinator? Oh my god, that'd be so bad. That would just not. No, he's not a spy. I don't think he is, at least. But honestly, he could be a spy. Okay, no, he's not a spy. In that time, Tyler spent an ungodly amount of hours looking for other companies, partly because I think he was planning outfits for an engagement. Once you decide what piece of clothing you want, you begin by filling out a physical profile with details about your body type, fit preferences, and in-house tailors will use this information to draft a custom pattern and create a basted try-on garment. I think that's just basically like a shirt that is sewn in a similar way to what the final product would be, but it's made in not as nice material because they are a company that they tell you where this material comes from, everything about the factory. It has certifications and statistics. And I don't know, I just feel like that level of transparency, I'm like, okay, fine, have my card. Like, you're being kind to somebody in your warehouse. Like, I like that. That's good. But if you want something affordable, they're not the place to go. I think they're the place to go when you dabble around, Spier and Mackay for a bit, see what your style is, see what you're comfy in, and then you're like, I know what I like. I'm a man now. I'm like an expert man clothing wise, and I will wait 4 to 8 months for it. No problem. I'm in it for the long haul. That's the kind of man Articles of Style needs. Because Tyler just went and bought every single thing that guy recommended, he would have been good. He would have been looking fly from the very beginning, but he wouldn't be wearing maybe a fifth of those clothes. But I don't want to say it'd go to waste, but I think, once clothes are in your closet, it is just hard to get rid of them. Even though I keep saying articles of style is expensive, it's not that expensive if you're comparing it to other luxury brands, which for me, I am definitely comparing it to other luxury brands. Two of our closest friends had a baby shower in this event space that was at the top of Saks Fifth Avenue, I think, or it was Nordstrom's. I don't remember. It's a fancy department store, and we walk into the first floor, and we walked in the men's clothing section. I was excited. So I was prancing and dancing in and out of all the little racks. And Tyler knew more about the materials that these clothing brands were using. I don't want to say which ones it was, but it was a cashmere blend. So it wasn't full cashmere. It was a little bit lighter. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was cashmere. And it was like $6,000 for a sweater. And I was like, wow. So article styles is not that expensive. I don't think you're going to be paying around $6,000 unless you're getting a nice double-breasted suit. But if you're not, don't worry about it. Just first call the guy. Look at their website. See what tickles your fancy. That's articles of style, baby. Storytime. Wars have greatly influenced styles in menswear over the past century by introducing new fabrics, designs, and silhouettes that originated from military uniforms and equipment. During World War I, practical uniforms replaced ornate styles and incorporated new fabrics like denim, twill, and khaki that were durable for frontline conditions. These easy care materials became popular for civilian wear after the war ended. World War II saw the rise of functional yet stylish garments like pea coats, bomber jackets, and field jackets designed for pilots, sailors, and soldiers. Iconic silhouettes like the leather bomber jacket and quilted flying jacket were adopted permanently into mainstream fashion. Post-war decades saw these wartime innovations embraced widely. Military surpluses flooded markets, and soldiers returning home helped popularize their issued styles. Television and film exposed the public to uniforms and equipment, glamorizing a soldier's look. Military grooming habits like crew cuts and polished shoes translated to workplace dress codes. The Vietnam War era brought back woodland and tiger stripe camo patterns. So Bronson MFG is a menswear brand that was founded in 2012. Similar to Spier and Mackay, they focus on making high quality clothes for a very affordable and reasonable price. They aim to reproduce the classics while keeping the cost as low as possible. Bronson tries to recreate classics using the same machines and methods of the past. So before they sent out the clothes, someone from customer service actually reached out to Tyler. They asked for his measurements just to confirm that the sizes that he ordered were the right ones. And it took a while to find their Instagram, but when I did, the comments are very positive. They're a really cool company. I feel like it's a little treat that we found them, but now I guess I'm not gatekeeping it anymore. All you silly willies are gonna go out there and buy it. Okay, are we even gonna talk about menswear clothing without talking about the bear? No, we're not. Among the many beautiful garments the show had, the light this show shed on loop wheel machines. Wow. This show made me think a lot about the machines big clothing companies are using. And I thought about how weird it is how leather workers and carpenters flex machines they have in their workshops. Whereas like clothing companies, you have to get like lawyers involved if you even want to take a look at their factories. Every step of curating a garment is interesting. And with labor laws and plastics being the main topic of discussion most of the time, it's refreshing to hear how old machines are getting popular today. In this show, there are two types of white tees that are featured on the bear. One's by Meersby Schwanen, that's made in Germany, and the other is Whitesville, which is made in Japan. The Whitesville brand is a small sportswear label from the good old days in American clothing that was resurrected by Japan's Toyo enterprise. The brand was one of the most popular sportswear brands in the US during the 50s, especially for t-shirts and varsity jackets. Still, it went out of business when big corporations appeared, but luckily though, in 2007, Toyo bought the license of the name. This t-shirt got America and a choke hold. And rightfully so. These are pretty cool shirts.
Hey, so let's talk about really expensive plain white t-shirts. So they've come into prominence right now because of the show The Bear, where the main character wears these really nice fitting plain white t-shirts. And people have been wanting to buy them, and they've discovered that they're $50 US. Really expensive. But there is an objective reason why they're so expensive. There are two types of white tees that are featured on the show. One's by menswear, that's made in Germany, and the other is Whitesville, which is made in Japan. These aren't just regular t-shirts, they're made on loop wheel machines. Loop wheel machines are vintage machines that knit a tube of fabric, so they don't have any side seams, these t-shirts. So over the last few decades of mass production, they've been completely phased out, and the reason is they're really inefficient as machines. They're 10 times slower, and because they knit things in a tube, they can only knit one size at a time, so they knit like a small, a medium, a large. So the modern machines spit out these reams of fabric, sheets of fabric that you cut your sizes into. So that's the fabric, but the other reason is that the details on the t-shirt mean that they can't be made quickly. So look closely at the neck. It's not a regular neck here, it's a binded neck, so that takes longer to knit. And they use a cover stitch on that shoulder, which makes the shoulder seem more robust and durable. So everything about this t-shirt takes time to make, from the fabric to the construction, and time is money. And that's why this t-shirt costs more than the regular. And that's a completely separate question from whether you should buy or should everyone be buying expensive t-shirts. Well, that's a subjective choice. And I think that, you know, because we've been used to like 5 or 6 decades now of mass production, we're so used to buying t-shirts for the same price that have already been dyed, already been decorated. I suppose it does have its features as well. You know, it's a pretty neutral garment that you can wear with almost anything. And I think like if you find the story of attention to detail and really considered design really compelling, then it's something that would give you joy and something that you will wear a lot. So the cost per wear will be a moderating influence on the initial cost of it. I think, I don't know. Anyway, that's why these t-shirts cost a lot of money. I never know how to end these videos.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, I'm more than positive you'll like this one too.